Welcome to MAT 2LB, booklet number 9, fractions part 2, lesson number 1, multiplying fractions to fractions. So here we are, starting our second unit on fractions. In the rear view mirror, we've got parts of fractions, equivalent fractions, adding and subtracting fractions. So moving forward, this is most of the new material is in here in fractions part 2, and we're going to start by multiplying fractions. So in terms of multiplying fractions, there's in example 1, you'll see there are 3 steps to what we are after. So let's start in with example number 1. Multiply the following 2 proper fractions. So the first step, it says there, is to multiply the numerator by the numerator. So let's start by finding those. So there's our numerators there. In our first fraction, our numerator is 2. In the second fraction, our numerator is 1. So we are going to start by multiplying those 2 guys together. So 2 times 1 gives us 2. And the second part of step number 1 is to multiply the denominator by the denominator. So the denominator of our first fraction, 3, and the second fraction, 4. So we are going to now multiply the denominator by the denominator, and that will give us 12. So our answer so far is 2 over 12. Now we have to reduce this fraction to lowest terms, so we have the smallest numerator and denominator possible that's still equivalent to 2/12. The way that we do that is to go to the factor chart and see if there is a factor that is common to both our numerator and our denominator that we can divide by. So let's go over to our factor chart, and our factor chart is right here. So we have 2 and we have 12, and if we look at this, we'll see that they have 1 in common, and they also have 2 in common. So we are going to use 2 as the factor that is common to both our numerator and our denominator. So we're going to divide both our numerator and our denominator by 2 to get the lowest equivalent version of our fraction. 2 divided by 2 gives me 1, and 12 divided by 2 gives me 6. So the answer of 2/3 times 1/4 is 1/6. And that's how we do it. Let's have a look at another example together. Step number 1, again, if we're multiplying these 2 proper fractions, is to multiply our numerator by our numerator and our denominator by our denominator. So our 2 numerators are 3 and 1, and 3 times 1 is 3. And our denominator, 7 times 3 is 21. So our answer so far is going to be 3 over 21. But again, we want to see if there is a factor that's common to both our numerator and our denominator that we could divide our numerator and denominator by to get our fraction into the smallest equivalent or lowest equivalent term. So let's go back over to our factor chart and have a look. We're looking for 3 and 21, so there's 3, there's 21. The factor that is common to both, that's the largest, is 3. So 3 we are going to use here. We're going to divide both our numerator and our denominator by 3, and when we do that, we get 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 21 divided by 3 is 7. So the answer to 7/3 times 1/3 is 1/7. So that's our procedure. Again, quickly, we multiply our numerator by our numerator and get an answer. We multiply our denominator by the other denominator. That gives us our new denominator, and then we reduce, just like we did when we were coming up with when we were using addition and subtraction. So what I'd like you to do here is hit pause in the video and try example A on your own, right there. So you try A, get it to an answer. When you've got it, come on back and we'll see how you did. Okie doke. First step, multiply numerator by numerator. 4 times 1 gives us 4, and denominator by denominator. That's 5 times 2, and that is going to give us 10. So we have 4/10. Let's write that down. That's our answer so far. We're looking for a factor that is common to both our numerator and our denominator. When we look at our factor chart, we see that that is going to be 2. So we are going to divide both our numerator and our denominator by 2. That's going to give us 2 for our numerator and 5 as our denominator. So our answer is 2/5. Hopefully you rocked on that one. Let's give example B a try. So same thing, I'd like you to hit pause here in the video. When you've got an answer, come on back and we'll check and see how you did. Okay, here we are, 1/6 times 3/4. Again, first thing we do is numerator times numerator. That's 1 times 3, and that is going to give us 3 as our numerator. Next, we do denominator times denominator, or 6 times 4, and that is going to give us 24. And that is our answer so far. We have 3 over 24, which I'm going to rewrite here. Now I'm looking to reduce this, so I'm looking for the greatest factor that's common to both 3 and to 24, and when I check my factor chart, I see that it will be 3. So when I divide my numerator by 3, I get 1, and when I divide my denominator by 3, I get 8. So my answer is 1/8. If you're feeling good about this video, that's fantastic. Now's the time to head off and tackle the worksheet. If you need to go back over some of the steps, please feel free to do so in the context of the lesson. Otherwise, good luck on the worksheet, and I'll see you in lesson number 2.